Everyone, and welcome into round number 7 of the 2019 Race Factory Gaming Grand Prix Series in MX Simulator. We're here in Germany at Teutschenthal for round 7 of the series, the RFGP of Germany. And of course, my name is Kellen Brower here live on SYS TV, bringing you guys the MX2 class action here tonight. And it is going to be a fun event to watch. A lot of talented riders heading to the gate, getting ready to go. And we're going to bring you guys all this action live for the next couple hours or so. So stick with us because it is going to get good. Before we get this MX2 racing underway here tonight, we'll go ahead and take a look at the qualifying times as were predetermined in the 2 days of qualifying leading up to today's event. Walter Gebhardt goes to the top of the timesheets on a 140.632. Brandon Holmes on a 142 flat, Braden Carter 142.3, Jacob Helkvist in fourth there on a 143.4, then Anton Anderson on a 143.5. So it's good to see a little bit of a mix-up of runners here running some strong lap times, a little bit of foreign flavor, a couple of Swedish riders up inside of the grouping this week. And here's a look at your World Championship standings after those 6 rounds to start the year. It is Walter Gebhardt on top of Isaiah Dickerson by only 8 points in the series. He is on 271 to 263 for Dickerson. Kevin Gonzalez and Jordan Moxey are tied for third in the championship on 178, while Dylan Copeland sits a little further back on 155. And Jack Atland only 3 points behind him on 152. A lot of close battles that we will pay attention to all throughout the evening here in this championship hunt, with only 4 rounds left in the series, including this one. A lot of guys set to do battle here tonight, and it should be good. We're going to go ahead and take you around this racetrack just past the finish line jump here at Teutschenthal. Pretty standard layout for the racetrack. It's been basically the same for a lot of the years. Not too many changes to it other than some jump combinations have changed, but American fans watching this may remember this track from the 2013 Motocross of Nations, in which Belgium was able to claim the crown that year. Probably the most famous incident was Ken Roczen and Eli Tomac's epic battle to win the MX2 MX Open race back then that resulted in Tomac crashing very heavily over a single scrub jump on the other side of the circuit from here that I will point out when we get to it. But a couple switchbacks here in the back section, new little double section. This used to be a scrub single wall jump, but it's a little double through the valley. Kind of a lot of rut choices also, switching back and forth, different lines that these guys will have this weekend to try out. Down into the inside here, and this is where you're working your way back up to like the starting area of the circuit. Clipped a tough block there and went down. But uphill wave section all the way up to a little plateau here. And once you get to the very top of this hill, crest and go along a little flat plateau area into another wall jump, really tight and tough. To get on the brakes for that one, dropping back down the hill, and then the first turn complex right here, little single back up into the first turn area. This is the jump where Tomac had that big crash 6 years ago now. Big scrub single jump that these guys are going to be scrubbing as I just Bonner Leclerc a little bit. Have a lot of different options developing through this corner here into a big step up double coming down into the middle section of the racetrack. These guys got to get on the brakes for this uphill step-up jump right here. Then you're going back across the starting line area, getting on the brakes down into this corner, trying to tuck as far to the inside as you can. Hit this inside rut, down past by the mechanics area, getting on the gas and hopping down into the valley, and up to the Versus PC finish line jump. And that is a lap here at Teutschenthal in Germany. You will not want to be doing a 6:58 lap time. I can promise you that around here. That is way, 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 way too slow. But I'd imagine that most of our runners in this 26 rider field that you see on your screen right here will not be doing such terrible lap times. And again, there is the listing on your screen. That is how they will go to the line. Gebhardt, Holmes, Carter, Helkvist, Mozart, which I believe was Anderson, Connor Wells, Jacob Holgerson, Devin Ryan, Craig Leake, Dalton Plessinger, Kevin Gonzalez, Sean Smith, Luke Sullivan, Sean Klein, Tim Althaus, Jacob Warden, Rasmus Eriksson, Jack Gatlin, Bird Green, Reno Brennan, Benjamin Saves, Chandler Bloxham, Jack Fowler, Austin Bear, Kyle Robb, and Reed Young going to the line. All right, we're going to get a restart here. And these guys will be heading out for their warm-up lap / parade lap. This is essentially just a reconnaissance for the race host to be able to see that everybody got into the race successfully. Load times are always a little bit longer when you load everybody at the same time, so sometimes people will time out of the game, and you don't want them to miss the start. That's actually happened in Race Factory Gaming competition. But I digress. We will move past that and move into the 2019 season of the RFGP Championship. All right, so in the hills of Germany here, Teutschenthal, back at it again. Round 7 of the series. We got a week break off last week. Everybody taking a week off at Race Factory Gaming for the Independence Day holiday in the United States. And back after it this week in Germany.
Why you have to be mad?
Carmen Season subscribing his 7-month subscription to the channel. I believe that now promotes him from an SYS VIP to an SYS Elite member if you go to the 6-month subscription level. More emoticons coming soon, I promise. Just trying to get around to doing those. Been a very, very hectically busy schedule for me. Don't feel like I have anything else to give except for what I'm doing anymore in these streams. So very, very tight and tough, but we'll get around to it. All right, loading in. As mentioned, it does take a little time to load in on these races. Now, most of the racers that you'll see on the track, what they end up doing is only downloading either their skin or a couple of their friends' skins so they can see each other on the racetrack, but everybody else is usually on default models. And why they do that is, for one, obviously load times like you see here I'm struggling with. Going to take a very long time to load into the race, but the other reason is lag issues and frame rate, problems with dipping and going high and going low and going high with frame rates. Oftentimes I do leave the FPS up in my upper left hand corner of the screen, so you'll be able to see the dipping in frame rate. Sometimes it'll go as low as like 30 to 20 with as many people on the track as 40 guys that I have all their skins. Most of the time we can hover around the 100 mark or above. But obviously if you're racing, you don't want those frame skips going way down because it'll pop you out of a rut or cause you to crash just because you weren't paying attention to braking bumps or what have you. So yeah, these guys usually don't see every skin, but I do because they all send them to me, and it's lovely to have everybody's skins out here. Here's Gebhardt, your points leader. Red background denoting on the front number plate of that Prestige Worldwide machine that he is a championship leader. Big shout out to Anthony Pichon dropping by with the 5 bits to start it off tonight. Thanks so much, buddy, and good luck later on tonight in the 450 division. Keyshawn Johnson, or Kaysian Johnson? I feel like that's Keyshawn or Kashawn, but if I pronounce your name wrong, I apologize. But what's up, man? Saying what's up to me, I'll say what's up right back to you. I'm doing good. Hope you're enjoying watching the GP of Germany here on SYS TV. These guys are getting lined up and ready to go. Off in the distance we are. Sean Smith in the middle of the screen there. We're going to find someone maybe a little bit closer to the inside. Well, how about Luke Sullivan here on the 811 as the board goes sideways? The revs are up, and we are off and running here in Germany as the gate goes down. Sean Klein gets a really good start. It's Plessinger going down the inside, but he goes down and takes Klein with him. Hole shot goes to Gebhardt as he picks up the Race Tech Hole Shot Award. Devin Ryan settles into second with Braden Carter in third. Craig Leak right there in the mix as well. Connor Wells up front with a good start on the 202. A couple guys getting saucy in the background as Leak and Carter go toe-to-toe coming down the hill, and Leak's going to make that pass. Carter trying to fight back. Leak tucks to the inside, going to hold the spot. Carter gets the drive and is going to pull down the inside but not make the move. All the while, your championship leader, Walter Gebhardt, leads lap number 1 in Germany. Devin Ryan giving chase from behind. Down that inside line, it's going to really develop later on as the race moves along. Gebhardt from Ryan, and these two already opening up a little bit of a gap there on Craig Leak in the background. Devin Ryan Crafty American for Active Co. Always really good if he gets a good start, and that's exactly what he's done here in Moto number 1. And whether or not he can go with Gebhardt, that is going to be the real question. Gebhardt obviously has been very fast all season long. That is why he is your championship leader. But this week in particular, it appears to be even worse. The gap between himself and his competitors, over a whole second between himself and second fastest qualifier on the timesheet. So he obviously feels the flow on this racetrack, and he's going to try to take this number 13 Prestige Worldwide machine to another GP victory. Off to a good start here in Germany, no doubt about it. Devin Ryan still giving chase. Craig Leake is back here with Benjamin Saves going at it with Braden Carter. Saves on that 765 limited decal ride as these guys getting upside down. And Saves tucks to the inside. Carter blows the rut. It's going to go bar to bar. Saves goes off the racetrack through the Ride 365 banners and gets back on, still in a good position. Launches onto the start straight. He's going to try to make that pass on Carter. Carter another bobble, and look at Saves going to pull back alongside. Look at Wells also on the 202. A couple of guys looking for some opportunities as Leak was down before the finish line jump. Saves gets absolutely sideways. Oh, and then Wells goes long, takes out Leak. Down with them is Warden on the 59 as everybody scatters around them after the finish line jump. And 3 riders down in a heap, going from inside of the top 5 to outside of the top 10, just like that. Battle continues here between Carter and Saves, however, as Saves on that 765 machine, applying heaps of pressure here to Carter. Carter doesn't look as polished as we've seen him this year. Of course, Carter won the San Diego Supercross in the 250 division earlier this year before being suspended for the rest of Supercross for hacking, or at least correlation to the hacking group. Maybe it wasn't him personally, but it was what got him suspended for the season. Back at it outdoors, though. And Benjamin Saves is just applying tons of pressure here. Staying a little bit lower on the scrub jump as well. Finding the flow. Trying to go after his best career finish here in the RFGP series. That's not going to help his case, so he gets a little high centered on a rut. Second time in a row he's landed off the racetrack right there, so clearly suspension or something causing some problems on the lip of that jump. Getting a little bit of a kick each time, and it has not been helping his case. Go back here and find the battle that's closing up on Saves now, as Althaus just gets passed by Holmes and Luke Sullivan at the same time, and Klein back there on the 10 lurking around as well. These guys are in there for so long on this finish line jump. Very big booter in sim, not as big as that in real life. Holmes trying to go after Saves, but trying to also block Sullivan from an attack, and Sullivan on that 811 is going to pull alongside the 148 of Holmes. Let's see if he gets the move down the inside into the wall jump, and he will indeed make that pass happen. Cuts across the line and gets into Holmes, who lays it down and gets landed on by Althaus, and he's in a terrible spot as Althaus goes down now as well. More riders jumping over top. That was the 26, I believe, of Holgerston going down right there. And more riders still coming over the wall jump. Everybody is trying to feed their way through. Whoa, 175 right there. That is Jacob Helkvist having a bit of a moment. He gets stood up in the corner by Holgersson, his countryman. Ooh, there's a little bit of front end tap there from Holgersson onto the back of Gatland. And Kyle Robb absolutely wringing the neck out of this 125. Holmes is able to get up ahead of that chaos. Look at all these guys going over the jump at the same time. We got a rider down. It's Jake Warden, the number 59 machine, off the side of the racetrack, going to lose several positions. All in all, probably about 7-8 positions lost right there for the 59 machine. Big shout out to Kyler Hockey, who has continued his gifted sub from KR Money. Welcome back. So glad to have you as one of the SYS Elite members. Or I should say VIP. The Elite members are the 6-month club and beyond. Alright, let's take a peek back out front, see how things are settling down. It is Gebhardt still leading 6.5 minutes through. And he's got this gap out to a nice lead working. No pressure from behind, but it is still Devin Ryan that's back there. Looking at about a 5-6 second lead right now. And Ryan just trying to keep at least some level of pressure on just in case something were to happen to Gebhardt. The number 15 machine would be there to bounce onto the opportunity. Braden Carter has now dropped saves after Benjamin hit the deck. And the number 65 machine all alone in third. And boy, all alone is clearly the case here. Nobody, you can't even hear other riders around him at the moment. On this back end of the circuit, just completely by himself. Here is Benjamin Saves, who has drifted further back from Braden Carter, but he still runs in fourth. And frantic action going on here. Brandon Holmes trying to hold off Kevin Gonzalez, who has ever so slowly been working his way forward through the field. 53 machine for BPC, trying to close it down on the 148 ride of Brandon Holmes. Little tire tap there for Holmes. Corrals it together, but the position may be lost as Gonzalez shoots down the inside. Let's see if he can hold that inside line, and Holmes actually lays it down on the outside. Around goes Kyle Robb on the 23, so Robb on the move. Making that 125 sing, and it is oh so pretty as Sean Klein now goes into the picture. And Jake Warden, after his crash, is also in the mix. Let's go on board with Robb here for a minute and take a listen. Fourth gear on that tabletop. That's how hard he's having to ride this thing. Already up into fifth gear now, off the side of the racetrack, and he's got some heavy pressure from behind. Holmes and Klein bar to bar right behind him. Klein trying to shut the door, and he's going to make that pass stick. Holmes comes to a very tight stop there just to not run into the back of Klein, and triples up to the top of the hill. Let's see if he can make this work around the outside. That inside definitely looks like it is the optimal one to take at the moment. So Klein all the while trying to get up to Kyle Robb just ahead of him as Holmes tries to get Klein again. He's going to swing around the outside, but Klein cuts across and shuts the door. Very tight battling here. And Robb trying to get the power up the hill as Klein fighting back. Robb launching down the hill, but keeps it on the track. Nicely done. Now Klein launches across the start line. Let's see who stays lower on the scrub jump. You're going to go nearly bar to bar over the top, and it's Robb who stays lower, but Klein may have a line down the inside. Just not able to try to hook onto that inside rut just yet. Robb coming short on the double, but he's going to try to hold it around the outside. Look at the speed he carries on that CR125, and Klein can do nothing about it. Now Klein tries an inside move there, but that doesn't work. Loses the rear end that time, and also loses another position as Warden closes in. Holmes has gone through, and Robb survives the attack for now. So Robb on this two-stroke means business out here. He hasn't just come to mess around. He is running well up inside of the points. Putting on a solid moto thus far. Gonzalez saves Carter, Ryan, and Gebhardt still up ahead of him, but it's this battle back here as Holmes goes down, lays it down right there in front of Klein. Several riders going through. There goes Connor Wells, and Holmes is going to rejoin behind the iLab.com number 202. Jacob Helkvist and Craig Leak up the road a little ways. Similar look for both of these guys, but they are not on the same team. Helkvist on this limited decal ride. Leak on the BPC machine. Oh, down in the background goes Connor Wells. He had just clipped the side of a tough block right there. And unfortunately, sometimes those just barely get you and you have an instant fall-off crash. Very frustrating moments, but usually you're going a slow enough speed when that happens, you don't cartwheel down the track and it's a long fall-off crash. Back up to this battle between Holmes and Klein. And before long, maybe Helkvist as well, as he just made a mistake up the road. Now Leak makes another mistake. So these four riders closing down pretty nice and tightly here, and just as Klein had worked his way back up to Holmes, he makes another mistake and runs wide. So he will have to remount a charge. Plenty of time left to do it though. 12 minutes into this moto. Still 18 minutes left for these guys. And the laps are just clicking on by. 8 laps in. Normally we're at least around that halfway mark, if not past it, when you get to 8 laps into a race. Oh, as down goes Craig Leak. He's off the side of the racetrack. Tough spot to go down right there. I'd have to imagine he just landed a little long and had an instant fall-off crash. So it allows Holmes and Klein to sneak through. And Klein has got a good line around the outside here. See if he can parlay it into something a little bit nicer to set up a pass. Holmes tries to defend, and really the best defense obviously is taking the line that is the most developed and everybody else has been taking. Is Klein still pushing the envelope, blows the rut in the background. Now suddenly Benjamin Saves is in the mix here on the 765 machine up the road. Limited decal rider. And Helkvist also on the charge as well, has now closed up onto Kyle Robb. Robb running in that 6th spot on his 125. But remember, Helkvist and Holgersen, his teammate, both qualifying up inside of the top 5. So clearly they're having a good time with the track this week. And both of them trying to convert on some good finishes. Holgersen struggling at the moment down in P17. But everybody's still fairly close together. Helkvist just getting completely upside down. Oh, Robb lays it down, and just in the perfectly wrong spot. Helkvist on the 3rd run from the outside just gets T-boned in the backside there as Robb gets into him, and then Helkvist just, I think, got saved a little bit by a lag bubble right there. He was just about on his way down. Front end kicked out and saved him. Double fall off there would have been absolutely dreadful. So loses a couple positions, and Saves was able to pass Kyle Robb after that mistake. So Robb now behind Benjamin Saves, then Klein coming through with Holmes from behind as well. Klein looking for an opportunity. He's going to go inside. Doesn't force the issue and maybe cost him a chance at that position. Going to go inside on the next corner. Klein playing very nicely, and that one works in his favor as Saves was down on the corner exit. So Klein moves on through past Kyle Robb. Jake Warden further down the road from him, Kevin Gonzalez, Braden Carter, Devin Ryan, and Walter Gebhardt. So as we are just about to crest the halfway point of this moto, 15-minute mark coming up, 15 minutes and 2 laps left to go. We'll go ahead and do a very quickly top 10 rundown through the field as Gebhardt gets completely stacked up in the corner right there. Didn't quite catch the number on that lapped rider. But they're also riding a 125, so we got 2 125s out here, CR 125s nonetheless. All right, this top 20 rundown is brought to you by the folks at Versus PC, versuspc.com, for all your performance computation gaming needs. You guys want to try out some of the new graphics cards? Versus PC has a whole line of them over there. And you can also get a pre-built or custom-built PC of your making over there. Check them out today and get gaming tomorrow. Walter Gebhardt continues to lead on the number 13 Prestige Worldwide machine. Your points leader, with no threat this weekend from Isaiah Dickerson, has got this thing pretty well covered off points-wise. It's really about whether or not Devin Ryan, coming from 2nd, can do anything about the race lead. And the number 15 active co-rider putting everything into it, but just slowly losing time every lap. And halfway into this moto, I think he's hoping he was a little bit closer. Not quite there yet, though. Braden Carter Currently running up in the 3rd position, and as mentioned earlier in the race, he is kind of all alone in that 3rd spot on the number 65 iLab.com machine. He was battling with Benjamin Saves earlier. Saves went backwards, and Carter went well forwards. He is long ahead of 4th place right here. This is Kevin Gonzalez, the BPC number 53, who finished on the podium at France earlier this year. Whoa, hang on to it. Oh, he goes down. That's going to allow Klein through, or at least it should. Klein over the wall jump and dropping down is going to move up into 4th. And the number 10 rider, who won the Hangtown opener in the National Series, trying to get his wits end back a little bit and start riding like he knows how. Has put on a nice charge through the field. He's up to 4th. So has a lot of the moto left to try to chip away at those race leaders if he can. And Gonzalez is going to go back to work after that slight mistake cost him a position. Back to 5th now for Gonzalez. Just ahead of Jacob Warden here, who's running 6th for Wildside Designs, number 59 machine. We saw him down earlier in the race off the Tomac single. He has done a nice job to corral his efforts through the field and runs in that 6th position. Just ahead of Kyle Robb, who is the number 23 rider for Prestige Worldwide on the CR125. Rocking it out here, looking ever so strong, fighting off the attacks from his 250F counterparts. Craig Leake of the BPC number 11 machine running in 8th just behind him. These two are locked in a bit of a battle over 7th. There's Jacob Helkvist. Number 133 limited decal rider is in 9th. And so far, converting fairly nicely on his good qualifying effort. Was 4th in qualifying, runs 9th right now. Sometimes you see guys just run that one magical lap and get inside of top 5 or so in qualifying and never can convert it very well into the race. But Helkvist's done a nice job so far. He's made a couple mistakes and it's cost him a lot of time. But he's still in 9th and has a lot of time left to use that speed that qualified him so well to get towards the front. Brandon Holmes runs out inside of the top 10. As he is just ahead of Mozart here, which I don't know who that is, quite honestly. I thought it might have been Holgerson. 204, I should get a name on that. Oh, down goes Helkvist. So these two are going to move up into 9th and 10th. Just which one of them is going to be 9th and 10th? Trying to zoom in and take a look. You can see a name in there. Chest protector just covered it. So Holmes now back into 10th. Benjamin Saves is in 11th for limited decal. 12th is Jacob Helkvist, also for limited decal, teammates. 13th, Jack Gatlin on the Rockstar Energy Husqvarna Factory Racing Machine. Started off the year oh so well, and it has not gone his way ever since, and 13th is not what he was hoping for in this first moto, so he's going to continue his ascent through the field and see if he can make it up inside of that top 10 before this one's over. Connor Wells behind him, running 14th after a good start. Ran up inside of the top 10 for a long time. A couple crashes have pushed him back to 14th, but still scoring some good points with the 202 iLab.com machine. Actually going to go up to 13th there as Gatlin was down. Here is P15, Luke Sullivan, the 811 Transmoto rider. We watched him off the start. He got together with Klein off the gate, and now he is going to go down again, just running a little high on that rut after some bouncing on the way in. There goes Holgerson, and then a race leader, Gebhardt, gets into the back of him. So Holgerson moves up into, this is 15th, yeah. 15th for the limited decal number 26. 16th is Sullivan. 17th is Tim Althouse for Transmoto. Battling it out with Bird Green. Oh, Bird Green going a little long on the finish line jump, I thought. The Enigma Productions number 175 machine. Hanging on to some points right here and duking it out with Althouse. Sean Smith just behind them for Virok. And rounding out our top 20, I believe, yes, Austin Bear of Hemlock on the 948. Holding down that final points paying position. Erickson just outside looking in. That's been your top 20 rundown brought to you by the folks at VersusPC.com. So to give you an idea of the gaps, we're going to go ahead and also do a run through the field. This one isn't sponsored by anybody because it's an idea of my own and nobody's paying me to talk about it. So like doing these little runs through the field where we get to a section of the racetrack where somebody's going through, like our leader right there, Gebhardt, and see how big the gaps are. These are all lappers coming through right here. Althouse, Bird, Green, Sean Smith all going through right there. And this is, let's see, who is coming through right there? That's a 704, I believe, I'm sorry, Jack Fowler, the other Jack. Here is second place now, Braden Carter coming through on the 65, and Austin Bear a lap down. Then third, Devin Ryan on the 15, so you've seen a change of for position right there happen. This is Rasmus Eriksson, also a lap down. And then fourth place, Sean Klein coming through on that white Husqvarna number 10. The rider's a lap down as well. Didn't get the number on that person, but it may be Reed Young, given that Kyle Robb, his teammate, is also on a 125. All right, waiting for P5 to come through, and here he is, but a big mistake for Kevin Gonzalez allows his teammate Craig Leake to get alongside. They're battling up over the hill. Fifth and sixth going by on your screen right there. Look at the size of these gaps, though, and you can tell Gebhardt has lapped quite a few people, given as the amount of lappers that have gone through. Here is seventh. That's Jacob Warden coming through, or sixth, I should say. Then Brandon Holmes. And Kyle Robb, and, oh man, Helkvist almost going over. And then 204, that's Mozart, still trying to get a name on that. And waiting for our race leader Gebhardt to make all the way around. He's almost back, 2 corners away right now. He's got a couple riders ahead of him. Benjamin Saves is one of them, but Saves just went down right there. And Holgerson got around him, as did Gatlin. Oh, and then your leader, Gebhardt, a big moment right there, but here he comes up the hill. He got actually into the side of Benjamin Saves. That's been a lap through the field now. So you see where everybody is in relation to each other on the racetrack. Braden Carter moving around Devin Ryan is huge, but now even huger is this battle for third brewing. Sean Klein putting the pressure on Devin Ryan and spoke about Klein's charge forward and how strong he's looked in this moto. Really coming through right now as he is caught all the way up to third. Trying to make that move around the outside. Devin Ryan will fight back on the inside. Oh, and they get together. Klein arced out of the corner hard, and somehow neither of them went down. Klein was able to just hop off the top of him, but he does make that pass finally happen and move up into third. Ryan gonna have to go back to work. And here's that teammate battle that continues to just absolutely rage on like a fit of fire out here. Gonzalez and Leake. Saw them getting together about basically a lap ago right through here. They were side by side up to the top of the hill. Gonzalez clearly has thus far won that battle. Oh, I apologize actually. Leake is a lap down. I thought they were battling for position, so something happened to Craig Leake, caused him to go over a lap down. Because he was really just right in that mix. That's actually kind of interesting. So Warden is actually in sixth. Yeah, sixth. And seventh is Brandon Holmes. Eighth for Kyle Robb. Ninth for Mozart. Which again, we'll figure out who that is eventually. And 10th right now is Jacob Helkvist. Helkvist is kind of all alone right now. Not a lot of battling going on inside of this top 10 at the moment. Everybody's spread out pretty well. Oh, Rob just went down. That's going to allow Mozart through. And Helkvist still coming up from behind. Gatlin charging his way forward all the way through this race. Is up to 11th. Smells blood in the water and wants to get as many points as he possibly can as he is trying to go for 5th in the championship here. About to get lapped by Gebhardt 25 minutes in, and Gebhardt about to lap inside of, or not inside of, but to P10. This is P11 on the racetrack, and Gebhardt about to go right on by him. So Gatlin moves aside, Gebhardt goes through. Getting word in chat also, by the way, from Carlson694 that Mozart is actually Mozart Moose, a Swedish guy. Never heard of him, so that's news to me. But good to see him doing so well out here. He's running inside of the top 10 at the RFGP. Oh, Gatlin hard over the bars at the top of the hill. A little bit of a swap, and through the bales he goes. Big up and over moment right there for the 97. Only loses one position though to Holgersen. Helgqvist was still up ahead of him. And Sullivan pretty far behind him. Braden Carter just lapped him. And how about this battle? Bird Green and Connor Wells locked together here. Or are they? Yes, they are. So Bird Green, Connor Wells, a couple guys that just recently moving up to the pro division. When Sullivan just went down, so they're both going to get a couple of positions there. Wells trying to find the way through on the 175 machine. This is now turned into the battle for 14th. Hippity hopping on down the hill is Bird Green, but he hooked the rut a lot nicer than his compatriot behind, Connor Wells. So Wells just tiptoeing through the corner, trying to find a line to get around Bird Green. Dive into the inside and might have made that move, but Bird Green charges around the outside and holds the spot. Great back and forth battling between these two. Something tells me it is not over yet as they continue to fight down past the mechanics area. Oh, Wells had a line right there, but Green shut the door. Wells gonna try the inside line here as well. And he makes it work as Green lays it down on the corner exit. So Bird Green, big mistake right there, and it's going to cost him. Going to lose, well, that's not another position. That's Klein going through. And Klein, as you remember, running third in the race at the moment. So Green obviously has to adhere to the blue flags and stay out of his way, but that was fairly close right there with the crossover there from Klein. Oh, wait, what? Craig Leake is 11th, but for some reason the cameras are all over the place with him. So maybe, just maybe, he did actually have a timing gate issue. Because remember, he was right there behind Gonzalez. It is now showing him in 6th. Gonzalez up there in 5th. So yeah, definitely something happened timing gate-wise to Craig Leake that we did not see happening because it had thrown him way down the order. And it still seems like it's a bit of a problem because the timing loops are not changing over the next camera as well for me. Not sure what exactly is going on. Don't want to speculate, but it does seem internet related. So Leake trying to fight off those demons as he has lost a couple positions. Jacob Warden and Mozart Moose battling it out. Oh, Warden has gone down, and in the end is going to be an easy position for the 204. Pretty far away from Kevin Gonzalez. And everybody's so spread out. Two-lap board going to come out next time by four-year race leader Walter Gebhardt. Braden Carter is all alone in second. See, lap times wise, if Klein has caught him much. 8.5. A little over almost 9 seconds now. 46.8 to a 49.8. So yeah, Klein did actually catch him quite a bit that last lap, but since crossing the line, the gap has gone out. Watching a little onboard action here from Sean Klein. Whoa, tucks the front wheel. That's going to cost him a lot of time. Kevin Ryan peeking up ahead and noticing that Klein has made a mistake. Might try to launch an attack here. Further back, Helgqvist and Warden still locked together. Oh, and that was Warden that was down, I believe. Yes, it was. Warden down after the finish line jump, loses a spot to Helkvist and Mozart. 2-lap board about to be displayed. Race leader just about to come across the line here. Go up to him right now. There he is. So he actually just lapped 10th, I believe. That must have just lapped Holgerson there. As mentioned, 2-lap board out. I'll tell you what, guys, Braden Carter, it is not completely out of the realm of possibility he could catch Gebhardt now, after Gebhardt has made a couple big mistakes last couple laps. 2:04.1 last time by was 17 seconds slower than Braden Carter. Carter making up a humongous amount of time in one lap. Obviously some troubles there for your race leader, but this does now put it within one crash range, one fall off crash for your leader, Walter Gebhardt, and suddenly Braden Carter is in the mix for this thing. A lot of riders making mistakes around Carter. Devin Ryan's moved up to third, so Klein continuing to have a couple struggles after he was almost going to catch up there a little bit to Braden Carter and made a couple mistakes. Zal is still fifth, and then we got frantic action going on here. Mozart trying to work his way around Reed Young, who is one lap down, and go after his teammate, Jacob Helkvist. Jacob Warden landing off the finish line jump. Brandon Holmes is getting passed there by Gebhardt, so white flag has been displayed. Your race leader checks in one more time. Holmes goes down after the finish line jump. He was clearing away, going to be all alone for 9th. If he was just able to stay on 2 wheels, he was not just able to stay on 2 wheels. Instead, Gatlin going to close this thing down now, and oh man, Holmes almost made another big mistake right there. Holmes got to be careful here because Gatlin has closed this gap down quite a bit in the span of the last couple 3 corners with the mistakes that Holmes has made. But then Gatlin makes a big mistake of his own right. Oh, he's going back and forth across the track right in front of Jacob Holgerson and takes him down. And I don't think Holgerson's going to be all too happy about that. And you definitely could have an argument there for an unsafe track re-entry, but we'll have to see what the stewards say about that one. All the while, though, it has been Walter Gebhardt. From gate drop to checkers, it is going to be a perfect moto for this man. A couple mistakes late in it, but it's pretty likely he'll end up with fastest lap. Got the whole shot, is your fastest qualifier, and will have led every lap and won the race. If this was Formula 1, that would be a Grand Slam. This is not Formula 1, but we'll call it a Grand Slam if he does the same thing in Moto 2. Because that would be the ultimate Grand Slam. Either way, Walter Gebhardt has made this thing look way easier than it is. I promise you it's not this easy. He is just that good. Here he comes down to the finish line jump. Walter Gebhardt takes Moto number 1 here in Germany. Braden Carter has lost a lot of ground, and Devin Ryan is on the charge. Carter just trying to hold on for that second spot. Just got one more corner to do it, just hopping into this corner. Devin Ryan throwing caution to the wind, but misses the rut, and Klein is lurking there as well, so 3 guys coming to the line together. Could come down to cuts between all 3 of them, but unofficially over the line, it will be Carter second, Ryan third, and Klein crosses the line 4th. Only about 3 seconds in it between them, all 3 of them, and they ended 30 seconds behind race leader and winner Walter Gebhardt. Kevin Gonzalez has got 5th place pretty well locked up here, and finally Craig Leake's timing and scoring has gone around to catch up with us. He is now in 6th position. He's pretty far back of his teammate, but he might just have that position on lock unless Jacob Helkvist has something to say about it. Jacob Warden is the last guy on the lead lap. Mozart went a lap down. He was 9th. and Brandon Holmes rounded out the top 10. So we'll wait for these three riders to make their way down to the finish line jump and see what cuts tell us about this race. So it was Gonzalez who crossed the line in 5th. Craig Leak looks like he has 6th wrapped up here. And he does. 7th will be Helkvist as long as he doesn't go down in this final corner. Very nicely done. And a great strong showing there for Jacob Helkvist with a big oppo whip over the finish line jump. And here comes Warden down to the finish line jump. Over the line, cuts are in, and Klein did get around Devin Ryan on cuts. Was not able to get all the way up to Carter, but he did close it down a little bit on Carter, who had 1.08 seconds of cuts. Ryan with 1.62. Let's see, anybody else lose a position on cuts? Well, actually, yeah, we have some shifting here. So, Sean Smith loses a spot to Luke Sullivan. And that was it. Young, Bear, Erickson, Smith, Sullivan, Althouse, Green, Wells, Holgerson, and Gatlin, 20 through 11. And your top 10 was Holmes, Mozart, Warden, Helkvist, Leak, Gonzalez, Klein, Ryan, Carter, and Gebhardt. That is moto number 1 here in Germany. All right, well, while we are on our 5-minute break, I like to go ahead and ride around the track a little bit, see what it was like for these guys to race on, and maybe you guys can see a little bit better for yourselves at home right now. But for all the lovely 33 viewers that are watching live here tonight, is also the moment where we open it up to the chat. If you guys have anything you want to discuss with me, you want me to answer a question, or you just have a general topic you would like me to go over, always like just interacting with you guys when I get the chance, and I don't like breaking away too much from the racing action, but we're on a break right now, so let's see what you guys got for me here tonight. Has Alexis Leclerc moved up in the greatest MX Sim riders of all time? Well, as it was just a single poll, and it's not like an interactive thing, I mean, technically no, because that list was just like a final poll for that video I did, but in my personal opinion, yes. I think that Leclerc is probably, you would say he's in the discussion for top 5 all-time riders in this game. You know, you can make a case for a lot of guys to go into that top 5 and be on the, quote, Mount Rushmore of the game. But Leclerc is definitely not just the 10th best rider in the game anymore. He is somewhere, I would say, 4 to 8. Of most influential, best, stat-wise, etc. to the game. OLS says, "Hey mate." Hello mate. How you doing tonight, governor? Oof, this track is getting nasty already. Getting some kicks in it. Bumps are breaking down. Will Baggett ever win a moto again? You know what? Yeah, I think he will, because Blake Baggett was kind of just like, I don't know, to start the year, and then just dominates Moto 1 at High Point. And that Blake Baggett is just going to happen every now and then. It's not always going to happen, but, you know, we'll go to, I don't think he'll win a moto this year, but, you know, we'll go to, like, I don't know, get to, like, round 5 next year, and he'll just win Moto 1 at WW Ranch or whatever. Something like that. FlexArn27 wants to know, where can I send you our team pack? I mean, technically there is a skins thread on the forum that I've always very much urged people to use, because it's a beautiful reference point for me to go back to well down the future if I ever make videos on this series or something like that. And it makes it so that everything's in one place, so I don't miss everything. So people always, I have like 87 Discord messages every Monday with people sending me skins, and I'm like, well, that's not really where it goes, but okay. But yeah, there is a skins thread, so if you could use that, please. Otherwise, sure, Discord's fine. But yeah, you're too late for the deadline tonight. I'll only be able to get your skins in for the next GP. Let's see. Can you explain the difference between GPs and Nationals? Alligator 1965 wants to know. Yeah, so the crux of it is the GPs is a world championship. They travel the world, 20-round series. They go to, I believe, 15 different countries. They have 2 Indonesian rounds, they have 2 Italian rounds. Normally they have 2 Dutch rounds because they do Assen and Balkansward. And normally they do 2 French rounds, but I don't know how many they're doing this year. And the Nationals is just a 12-round American series. So the Nationals in the USA is basically, you know, the British Championship, but for Americans, or the Australian Championship, but for Americans. It's a 12-round American National Series. You have to have an American license to race it, or at least a guest American license to race it, aka the AMA license. You know, the World Championship, you can have several delegations. You can have an AMA license, you can have a KNFB license, you can have a ADAC license. Yeah, you can have a lot of different licenses and still race the GPs, but it's a World Championship. They go to several different countries. They only race motocross. You know, the Nationals, it's mostly guys that race Supercross for 17 rounds and then race the Outdoor Nationals. Pretty much nobody races Supercross and then goes to GPs. Only they would do that if they get a fill-in ride, like Mitchell Harrison did this year. Mitchell Harrison rode for Rockwell Yamaha indoors, but now is riding for Bud Racing Kawasaki in the GPs. So, yeah, World Championship versus American Championship. That's basically the crux of it. Processor says, I think he would have won the championship in 2017. Yeah, Baggett, I don't know. I feel like Baggett, like, I don't want to say like lucked into it, but the year he won the title is just like he was just like clearly the best. I don't think Baggett can be what he is right now and win titles. Like, he has to figure out ways to bring back like El Chupacabra level skill set, where it's just like every week he dominates people from the 15-minute mark on. Like, he goes faster, everybody goes 6-7 seconds a lap slower. That was how he won his title in 2012, I think. I don't know if I'll ever see him win an outdoor title, honestly speaking. Yeah, Villapoto ran GPs as well. He had 1 year left on his Kawasaki deal and wanted to retire, and Kawasaki said no. And he said, well, I don't want to do Supercross. And they said, well, you can go to the GPs. And he said, okay. And he took his buddy Tyler Rattray, and they took over the factory KRT team in the GPs. He raced 4 rounds, broke his tailbone, and retired. But he did win the MXGP of Thailand that year. Will Anderson ever get an MX overall? I think so. I think Anderson's he's a good rider, and he's really close right now to getting an overall. And if I'm honest, I only see Eli Tomac going to the end of his Kawasaki deal and retiring, which is 2 years from now. I don't think Anderson is out of the sport in 2 years. He seems like a guy who's really enjoying it. And I think when Tomac retires, it's going to open up a whole different gamut of possibilities. Marvin might still be around, Kenny might still be around, but you'll have Cianciarulo and Ferrandis and Faulkner and all the Sexton and all these guys up in the 450 class suddenly. And an experienced vet like an Anderson may have an upper hand a couple of years from now for maybe even a championship. All right, back to the racing action here, though, in Germany. These guys out on their warm-up lap at the moment. And they are now done with their warm-up lap. All right, race 2 coming up here in Germany. These guys are slated to go 30 minutes and 2 laps. Will be about 35 minutes in total time. Did I miss your question? Did you find MX Sim to be fun again after you stopped racing? I did, yeah. So when I stopped racing in 2014 the first time, I was having a miserable time playing this game. And I did find the fun in it again, which is why I came back in 2017. I'll discuss that at another time, though. Be sure to ask it again, and I'll be sure to answer it that time. Let's go racing, though. Race 2 here in Germany. A lot of guys on 125s. Dalton Plessinger, Devin Ryan out here. I think I saw Kyle Robb. I think Gebhardt might also be on a 125. Gebhardt is on a 125. Braden Carter, Dalton Plessinger. Or Yeah, Dalton Plessinger's on a 125. So Carter actually leads. I think it was unofficially, though, Plessinger who got the Racetech.com Holeshot Award. Oh, Gebhardt just lands on Carter, jumping over top of him, just landed straight on top of him, and takes over the race lead. We have got 4 125s inside of the top 3 right now. Or inside of the top 5. Good math, Kellen. That is some good math right there. 4 125s inside of the top 3. Makes sense. We've got 4 inside of the top 5. Gebhardt leading. Devin Ryan on a 125 is in second. Craig Leake is in third. Dalton Plessinger on a 125 is in fourth. Brandon Holmes is not on a 125. He is in fifth. Benjamin Saves, Kevin Gonzalez, Tim Althouse, Austin Bear, Jacob Warden, Chandler Bloxham, Mozart, Braden Carter, Sean Smith, Bird Green, Luke Sullivan, Jack Fowler, Rasmus Eriksson, Jack Gatland, Sean Klein, Connor Wells, Jacob Holgerson, Jacob Helkvist. And no Kyle robbed this moto? Did I miss him? Yeah, no Kyle robbed this moto. So actually, the man that started, or it felt like it seemed like started the 125 trend tonight, it could have been him and Reed Young both. Both of them out of this moto. Neither of them given the start in this one. But a lot of other guys switching to the 125s, and Gebhardt is going to go try to win this moto on a 125. Craig Leake obviously sees an opportunity that he would like to take. Trying to put some pressure onto Walter Gebhardt. Gebhardt, to his credit thus far, has stretched out the lead. And the beautiful thing about these 125s is once you're accustomed to pushing a 250 really hard, this thing, you can ride it wide open practically everywhere. And that's exactly what Gebhardt is doing. He is ringing this thing out for everything it's worth. Craig Leake trying to hop over top of him, go to the lead. May have just made that move happen, but Gebhardt tucks back underneath and retakes the lead. Back and forth we go here in Germany. Gebhardt versus Leake, 125 versus 250F. Leake launching out to flat, trying to get the power down on that BPC number 11, but Gebhardt doing a nice job to defend. Up and over. Oh, Gebhardt laying it down nicely, landing in the right spot on the pocket as well. Getting up to the top of the hill, just taking tons of pressure right now from Leake. This has got to be one of those moments that honestly is probably frustrating for Leake, who definitely wants to just go win this race. And he would likely think that he is much better than anybody riding on 125. No matter who you put on it, he should be beating them. Gebhardt a little bobble, loses some traction. Then launching down the hill. The thing is just ringed out right now, wide open. Leake trying to keep the pressure on. Devin Ryan also in the mix. Dalton Plessinger having a really strong moto right now. Oh, Benjamin Saves falling out of the sky. Plessinger just pushes him gently wide and keeps that position. Oh, Saves short in the finish line, jump, and he goes down. Benjamin Saves is down off the bike after the finish line. Around goes, I believe that may have been Holmes. And Carter also closing in as well. Thank you, TG Photo, for the host. Appreciate it, my dude. Hopefully things went well, DMR. Right now, we just got to change to the lead. Craig Leake has made it around Gebhardt and his 125. So Gebhardt going to try to go back after the 11 machine if he can. Man, it's mesmerizing to watch. I'm just watching him just ride the absolute ringer off of this thing right now. He's just laying everything into it. Craig Leake has got to be like, why can't I shake this guy? And then you watch the onboard footage and you realize how well Gebhardt is riding this bike. Lays it down hard over the finish line jump. Ooh, blew that inside rut. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. So less starters this second moto, which means obviously less people on the racetrack. Perhaps we'll get a little bit of better racing as well because of that. Kind of all depends on what this man right here does though, Gebhardt. Winner in Moto number 1 would still have the overall as it runs, as Leake was only able to get a 6th in that first moto. With Gebhardt absolutely flying around the racetrack right now and just applying tons of pressure to the Mr. Craig Leake. Launching over the start line area at a 45.7 to a 44.6 out of Leake last time by. I'll tell you what, I think Gebhardt might actually go faster this time. He is looking really strong. Oh man, got a great drive through that rut. He's going to try to pull alongside. He might have an inside move down at the bottom of the hill. He's going to hang it on and get together with Leake. He just plows into him. Leake is also down off the bike off the side of the racetrack. That will give Devin Ryan the race lead. And everybody's scattered now suddenly. Leake gets back up. He is still in second. So Devin Ryan now your leader. Craig Leake gets back up. He is still trying to challenge for that race lead. Gebhardt was able to remount in third. Gebhardt is still right there, as mentioned. Brandon Holmes is lurking back here, hoping chaos kicks off and he could pick up his first win of his career as Gebhardt goes down. And Ryan going after it with Craig Leake. Ryan a little long, but you can hear that thing just wide open on landing, just taking it for everything it's worth. For those of you that don't know, you maybe don't play sim enough to know this, the RM125 in this game is quite honestly like a 144. It is bored out. JLV OP'd it because he loves Suzuki's. So it's by far the best 125 in the game. But that doesn't mean that it's easier to ride than a 250F or anything like that. It is still a lot of skill and talent to do what Devin Ryan is doing, leading this Grand Prix here in the second race. We also have to remember what's going to come into play here is that Devin Ryan actually lost third in the Moto to Sean Klein in the first race, and that could play a factor in the overall coming down the stretch, especially Braden Carter and Walter Gebhardt, these guys in the mix, could have something to say about it. So Carter got the bit between his teeth, trying to close it down right now. Onto the backside of Brandon Holmes. Craig Leake still trying to give chase to Devin Ryan. Oh, Leake is going to go down. He's backwards in the track, facing the wrong way. A beautiful save by the 11, but cost him a couple of positions there. And I wonder what would happen if Gebhardt gets the leak again, I'm not sure Leak will be very happy with what happened there between himself and the 13 machine. Could just say it was a case of Gebhardt trying to take the open door opportunity. It wasn't a very wide open door, but he certainly shoved the issue in. Well, I got to write her down. That was Braden Carter at the top of the hill. And dropping down off the top, Gebhardt's still just right there behind Leak. Just applying so much pressure. Landed a little bit too high in the revs there for Gebhardt. Lost a lot of ground and then goes down in the mechanics area. Carter goes through. I think that was Plessinger that also went by. It was on the 333. And Benjamin Saves is down. Kevin Gonzalez trying to charge forward. Bird Green, Tim Althouse, Luke Sullivan, Jacob Helkvist, Mozart, Holgerson, Warden, Klein. Well back here. Klein was third in the first moto. Remember, a lot of these guys actually had pretty good first motos. All these guys in this mix right here were inside of the top 10. Outside of the top 10 at the moment, but that doesn't mean they won't get there. I'm sure they're frustrated with their start to this one, especially knowing how many 125s are up front. Mozart back here, trying to settle in. Behind Helkvist and Althouse. Oh, Gonzalez nearly getting together with Bird Green. Those two exchanging some blows. Back up frontier leader, Devin Ryan. Still leading this thing, coming up to pretty close to the halfway point. Not quite there yet, but getting there, and he is looking very strong. No real pressure at the moment from Brandon Holmes behind him. But Holmes on the 148, as mentioned. Still looking for his first career victory in a Pro Series. This would be a big spot to do it in Germany, the second race. Pressure from behind. One of the current top 250 guys in the series. Ooh, mistake. Holmes laid it down, and Leak goes by. So just like that, complexion of the race has changed up once again. And I think as we run right now, I think Devin Ryan's still in line for that overall victory on a 4-1 to a 1-4 out of Gebhardt. Big Leak on a 6-2. Holmes, I believe he was further back at that. I think he was 7th in that first race. Oh, so 7-3 won't cut it, obviously. Then obviously Gebhardt back here in 4th, just ahead of Braden Carter. Dalton Plessinger, Bird Green, Tim Althouse, trying to find ourselves a battle. Gonzalez right here behind Althouse trying to go through. Gonzalez looking for any open door opportunity he could find. And he's got to be careful as Helkvist is coming up from behind. Three-rider battle here, though. Gonzalez into the bales a little bit. Crowds it together nicely. Oh, man, look at all three of them charging down the hill. Gonzalez going to try to go long. Althaus gets the power down. Meanwhile, Helkvist is looking for a move as well. Neither of them willing to budge an inch, and Helkvist is going to go the long way and get them both as he makes a pass around the outside. Look at that move from Jacob Helkvist on the 133. Now Althaus trying to challenge back underneath, but he is going to hold the position and a big whip to boot. I was wondering, both those guys kind of playing the slow race to the corner, battling with each other. Gonzalez finally moves Althaus aside and makes that move. But Holgerson, or I should say Helkvist, coming from essentially nowhere to just charge around the outside, make the pass on both of them, and followed up with a big whip off of the finish line jump. Next up, going to try to go after Bird Green on that 175. The Enigma Productions rider. And down Green goes. So Green makes a big mistake, and it costs him several positions. Althaus, Gonzalez all able to go through. Gonzalez on the prowl right now, still putting a lot of pressure onto the back of Helkvist. Big kicker there for the 133, but he's been slowly stretching out his lead over Gonzalez. Carter back here. Or I should say up here. He's ahead of this group. Dalton Plessinger, Walter Gebhardt, Craig Leake, Brandon Holmes, Devin Ryan. All right, so our lead grouping, things are tightening up ever so slightly. Craig Leake has Holmes just up the road from him. Devin Ryan is leading this thing, but he's only about a second up the road from Holmes. And you can see the leader going into that next corner, the bright yellow fenders. Oh man, this is getting close really quickly. Lapdrider moving out of the way. That I believe was Austin Bear on the 948. And Holmes trying desperately to hold off Craig Leake. Might have a chance to go after Devin Ryan for the lead in his own right. Leake going long on the single, but able to keep it on two wheels. Oh, that's not going to help. Down he goes. He tucks the front wheel. Now Holmes right on your leader. Battle for the lead going on. Brandon Holmes trying to get to Devin Ryan. Oh, down Holmes goes. He loses the rear end coming into the valley. And just as he had gotten to Devin Ryan, he goes down. He will remain in second place thanks to that crash from Leake. But he has got to be kicking himself. He wants to win one of these races very badly. Devin Ryan on the 125 laying claim to it. Holmes and Leake still fairly close. Gebhardt just worked his way around Austin Bear, who he lapped. Braden Carter all alone in fifth. Plessinger under attack from Gonzalez. Gonzalez going to go through up into sixth. And Gonzalez on the 53 machine has been the steady Eddie of the race thus far, as he has clawed his way up from a bad start and gone through a lot of other chaotic moments to work his way up to sixth. Now, how much further can he go with just a little under 10 minutes and 2 laps left to go in this race? Dalton Plessinger will funnel in behind him and keeping himself in that 7th place position. 8th is Helkvist, 9th is Mozart, and 10th is Tim Althaus. So all three of these guys have slowly charged their way up inside of the top 10. Ooh, contact! That was Plessinger getting together with Mozart. They both go down. Althaus goes through. And here comes Sullivan on the 811, also knifing his way on by. Jacob Warden is lurking back here as well, and then a pretty big gap back to Gatland. And all these guys are still pretty close together. Oh, jumping over top, Plessinger was down again, so Dalton Plessinger losing several positions. As now we have Sullivan, Althaus, Mozart, all three pretty close together, with right behind them Warden coming through and bringing Plessinger, who just was down with him. Got a rider off the track. That, I believe, was Sullivan at the bottom of the hill, but he regains the position. And jumping across the track right there was Mozart. But Althaus trying to defend is going to tuck to the inside. And Gonzalez was down, so suddenly around the outside goes Sullivan to make the pass stick on Gonzalez. And these guys are going tooth and nail with each other over the finish line jump. Oh, contact in the air. Althaus flying down and hits the deck hard. Made contact there with Mozart. So Althaus going to lose several positions. Warden and Plessinger go through. All these guys fight each other. I did notice, however, up front we got some changing going on as well. Gebhardt now up to second. We got Holmes in third. And Leak now in fourth as he's trying to hold off a lapped rider back there. I think that might be Jack Fowler on the 704. Holmes is absolutely pushing it, though. He so desperately would love to win this race. Gebhardt with such a huge championship lead now, being established with no Isaiah Dickerson here tonight. He will leave here at the very least with over a 50-point lead in the championship. Kind of a little bit in a cruise control mode, it would seem. It looks like he's pretty relaxed and not letting anything get to him at the moment. Sometimes that's just exactly what you do, and it brings you championships. At the moment, at least, on his way to victory here in the RFGP of Germany. A little over 7 minutes and 2 laps left to go, but he is looking pretty strong for that bid at the moment. Brandon Holmes and Craig Leak are still fighting for everything they've got. Trying to apply the pressure here to Brandon Holmes. Oh, Holmes a mistake. Leak hops over top of him and makes that pass happen. Holmes has no idea what hit him. And Leak now moves up into that third place position. So podium overall is starting to come into effect here a little bit. Braden Carter looking at a 2.5, Leak on a 6.3. So Leak needs a little bit of help still to end up on the podium here. Evan Ryan, though, all alone out front, and actually might as well do a quick run through the field here. Wait till he's in a little bit of a better position for us to keep an eye on. He's going to bring it down here over the wall, jumping up to the top of the hill. Dropping in and out of the valley up to the top here. And doubling down the hill. Just going back and forth across the valley here is Devin Ryan. So go ahead and watch him through this section and see once again everybody that's coming through. There goes Devin Ryan with the lead. Connor Wells a lap down on the 202. Pretty big gaps going right now. Everybody's pretty well and truly separated. Rasmus Eriksson is a lap down. He's coming through. And you see Brandon Holmes leading, Gebhardt leading, Leak just in the background, then they'll come down the hill on our right side into the camera screen. Brandon Holmes coming through. Gebhardt trying to pass him. And Leak in the mix as well. So those three absolutely dogfighting over that second place position. Then we go back. I think this may be Dalton Plessinger. Bringing along, oh no, I'm sorry, that's Jack Fowler on the 704. And Braden Carter going through in P number 5. So Fowler lays it down at the top of the hill. He is a lap down at the moment. Just trying to hang out there and maybe score some points. In fact, actually, he's in the points as they run. Austin Bear, lap down, but in the points. Dalton Plessinger comes through. Jacob Warden right there. Luke Sullivan on the 811, the 204 of Mozart, the 133 of Helquist, the 53 of Gonzalez. All of these guys pretty close together. A lot of battling going on in that group right there. Here's the 921 of Althaus. And the 97 of Jack Gatland as he almost goes down, the rider out of Great Britain. Little hip and a hop through that section, almost cost him. And we're about to come back around to our race leader. This is not him, this is Sean Smith on the 222 machine. Smith going down right there. This is, however, our race leader, Devin Ryan. Continuing to lead, about to hit the 27-minute mark, and he has got 30 seconds on Walter Gebhardt. Craig Leak just behind Gebhardt. And then Holmes also coming through. A couple of these guys going to think the race that could have been is this one right here. I think Leak almost went down. He did actually. He was just off the side of the racetrack. Holmes goes on by, but Leak's trying to fight back down the inside. Up to the scrub single. Holmes going to be doing the longer jump there, but he will maintain the position. Oh, and just like that, he tucks the front wheel, pushing a little too hard on corner entry. Just had a little bit too many of the bumps coming in. So Leak works his way back through, but he's not out of the water yet, and he just made a big mistake in his own right there. Gebhardt's still a little ways up the road. Yeah, I'll do a first-person lap on board Devin Ryan, Sam J297 on the request for this one. And well, let's just sit back and listen to what it's like with 125 here around Teutschenthal. Whoa there, Devin Ryan, a little bit of a mistake, high siding as he continues on here. Up over the finish line jump he goes, 29:33 on the clock. So he is not quite able, I should say he was well and truly able to beat the time around this time by, so it is 3 laps to go right now. Gebhardt back here, Leak, Holmes, Carter, Sullivan, and back on board with Plessinger now. Devin Ryan's teammate on that active code machine. And he's trying trying to run down Luke Sullivan. Oh, Plessinger going down after the finish line jump. Trying to close up on Sullivan, pushing a little too hard, jumping a little bit too long. And that's going to cost him. So Devin Ryan has got this thing pretty well under control at the moment. Just trying to milk this thing in. He's going to get the 2-lap board this time by. Again, as it stands right now, he is not going to win the GP. Likely will end up second overall with a 4-1. But the winner of the GP at the moment is still Gebhardt on that 1-2. Going to extend his championship lead, pick up 47 points in the championship. He was 8 points in the lead. It'll go out to 55 points now. So 55-point lead in the championship on offer right now for Gebhardt. 20 some odd seconds behind Devin Ryan, who's leading. But I'll tell you what, folks, we're in line for a 125-1-2 finish here in Germany. Unless Craig Lee can do something about it. Brandon Holmes a little bit too far back at the moment to warrant his name to be involved in this battle just yet, but there's still time. Gebhardt absolutely flying off of that plateau. He just gets that rear wheel down, just lets it carry him all the way down the hill. Key to the success on a 125 obviously is momentum, but you can do something like that. You keep the drag away from the front tire. You just let the power take you. And unfortunately, he is going to lose that position now to Craig Leake, just pushing a little too hard on quarter entry, blows the rut, and Leake goes on through. Now does Gebhardt have a response? White flag about to wave out front for your leader, Devin Ryan. He's going to come by the mechanics board. This time by, they're going to tell him 1, 2, go. Or what are they going to say? They're going to say mooted, TTV, BDW, more gas. Well, he's the active tent down there. They say breath, you know, more breath. Got to take a breath. Oh, Jack Gatlin getting a little frisky as the white flag waving. Devin Ryan and he almost making some contact. This has been a very impressive moto now for Devin Ryan, who has just continued to make it look so effortless out front on his 125. And Devin Ryan has just made this look way too easy out front in this moto. On a 125, no less. I'll keep reiterating that because this is really impressive stuff from both of our leaders. Walter Gebhardt distant 20 seconds behind Devin Ryan, but both these guys got good starts. They made it happen when it counted. And Devin Ryan gonna get the monkey off his back here this time out in Germany. He's gonna take a race victory, and he's gonna do it aboard his trusty RM 125. Coming down by the mechanics area one more time, and into the valley. Moto number 2 in Germany will belong to the 125 machine. Devin Ryan has won here in Germany. Big whipper tail over the finish line jump to celebrate. But this is the man to keep an eye on, though. Championship lead extended. He is going to be over 1 full GP's distance ahead in the championship with 3 rounds to go. The winner at the RFGP of Germany is Walter Gebhardt as he goes 1-2 on the day. Big style over the finish line jump. Craig Leak just going to fall shy there in third. 6-3 effort for the 11 though. Solid stuff. Brandon Holmes probably going to be disappointed that he couldn't get up on the box here in this second moto, but a 4th is still nothing to write home about. He is going to be stoked on that one. Braden Carter, I should say. Looks like he has got 5th place all but locked up, so a 2-5 on the day for Carter. He should be 3rd overall, just ahead of Leak. Jacob Helkvist and his teammate Mozart coming through by the start gate one last time and down by the mechanics area. Oh, Mozart going a little bit too deep into the corner, going to lose, well, actually he's going to lose a couple positions. Plessinger and the 59 of Warden go by, and he almost lost a spot to Sullivan. All of those guys coming by very close together. So we'll see if cuts affect any of that. Gonzalez is going to be the last guy on the lead lap to come through. He may actually give us cuts, so let's take a look here and see. Over the line he is going to go, and he will not give us cuts. It was Gatlin in 12th, 13th for Althaus, 14th for Wells, 15th for Smith, 16th is Erickson, 17th Bear, 18th Fowler out of the moto, 19th was Klein out of the moto, and Bird Green final points paying position in 20th. But Rasmus Eriksson, he's no quitter. He's going to get some good points this moto because he's out here. He's motoing down. He picks up a 16th. Very nicely done. Let's see if those guys got any positions. Oh, yes, actually, Mozart gets around Warden and Dalton Plessinger on cuts. Plessinger had 3.69 seconds, and Warden had 4.79 seconds of cuts. So that was kind of crazy. Hellquist, Holmes, and yeah, those are the runners all the way through the field. All right, that has been the MX2 race here in Germany. Join us on the other side of a quick break, and we'll be back with some more action here. It is the RFGP of Germany from Teutschenthal.